Let's do this. Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. My goodness, it feels like such a long time since I got to talk to you all again. It's been a good couple weeks now, and I hope you have been enjoying the videos in the meantime. I have been pretty busy. There have been some changes in my schedule, and for that reason, I really hope that you're okay with the videos now coming out on Tuesdays. It's just a lot easier for me, for my schedule, and for what I'm doing in my life to have that upload day. So I want to thank you all for being very flexible with me, and by the looks of it, you all seem to like what I'm doing, so I'm gonna keep doing it. Why not, right? So let's get to the real reason why we're here today, and that is how I told my school that I am a furry. It's time for another story. Samson is gonna tell a story. Why don't you say hi to the people, buddy? To be very clear, we're talking about one of my colleges. I went to a total of 2 colleges, and this was 2 years apart, so a total of 4 years. So basically, I went to one college for my associate's degree, and I went to a second college for my bachelor's degree. And this happened at my first college during my first few years getting my associates. By the way, if you're curious, my associates and my bachelor's, I majored in psychology. Any psych nerds out there, send me a message. We'll talk about Sigmund Freud and Carl Jung all day long. How's that? Oh gosh, I almost said Alfred Kinsey. That's not a good one, but we'll move on. Let's move on. Man, even with these glasses, I see worse. How is that possible? Well, Samson, maybe it's because you have a bunch of lights pointed at you and it's very hard to see in a fursuit, and you wear glasses in real life and you can't see without your glasses, and you can't wear your glasses in your fursuit. That's a good point. Other me, who just decided to put on a third person. So the year is 2014. I had been in the fandom about 3 to 4 years at that point, and I already was very aware of what it was, and I had made a lot of friends, and I knew I wanted to start fursuiting, which I already had been at that point. I hadn't been on very many fursuit outings at the time, but that was about to change. Coming out of high school, I was always kind of the quiet one. I was very introverted. I still am. I had some friends, but not a whole lot, and it's not to say that I had trouble making them. It's just that certain people interested me and others did not. At this point, nobody had known really about my involvement in the fandom in high school, and for the first month or 2 or 3, however long it was, into my first semester of college, nobody really knew. The friends that I did make at college, nobody really knew my involvement either. Something in me just kind of pushed me to kind of get out a little bit, grow and mature in who I was and who I wanted to be, and that involved taking some measures. So I did end up doing some subtle things to kind of indicate to the people that I knew and hung out with that I was a furry, but I didn't want to tell them outright because you never know what their reaction is going to be. That's the unfortunate truth with a lot of us, is we try to tell people, or we try to, share this part of our lives, and the problem is we'd never know how the reaction is going to be. It might be very, very negative. It might be super positive. So I wanted to indicate very little things, like I said. One of the things that I did, plushies. I started bringing plushies to school. I'm not joking. And I don't think there's any shame in plushies, because look at them. They're just cute and sweet, and who doesn't love plushies? I don't know a single person who doesn't love plushies in some way. If there are any plushie haters out there, I'd love to hear from you. Oh look, we have a little foxy loaf. Forgot about this guy. No, I don't have too many foxes. In fact, I don't have enough foxes, and neither do you. We should all get more foxes. Get more foxes. So yes, I would bring plushies to school, and I would begin to sit them on my desk in front of me in whatever class, wherever I was sitting. I kid you not, sometimes people would come up and pet them. Isn't that the cutest thing ever? People would actually come up and pet them like, "Oh my gosh, what's your name? What's this one's name? He's a cutie. Can I adopt him?" And so on and so forth. It was this next part of the story where I actually had one of my very first fursuit outings, and it was at my school. So it was around Halloween, which is usually a good excuse for any fursuiter who wants to show themselves off, to dress up and to make people happy and just, hey, look, I have this cool costume, why don't I just wear it? And I could see it in their faces that was kind of like an indicator for them that this guy's he's into something, because this costume is pretty good for just a regular fox, as they called it. It looked really good for like your regular fox costume that you would get off of Amazon or eBay. Here is the very first picture taken of my very first fursuit outing. I know, this was a huge moment for me. I struck poses, I gave hugs, I got so many pictures that night. This was a turning point in my furry career, as it were, because I was finally out there and showing my suit off, and I was able to finally explain, because I was actually asked shortly after, like, hey, are you a furry? There were a number of people actually who came up to me probably in the weeks following, the days following, and so on, who had said, hey, are you a furry? I was like, wow, you guys know what this is? This is so cool. Granted, I was 3 years into the fandom, and back in this time, it wasn't really mainstream, or definitely not as mainstream as it is now. As it turns out, I met, I think, if I remember correctly, it was three others who were considered to be part of the fandom. Two of them showed me their personas, and one was kind of a, I guess, furry brony hybrid. She was more brony than she was furry. So we began talking, we began developing relationships, comparing personas, the events that we went to, and the things that we got to do in the fandom, how long we've been in there. So continuing on, people had found out and had asked me if I was, and I told other people, and some people I didn't tell because reasons. And it was okay. It was pretty comforting to know that there were people out there who were actually supportive and who really enjoyed the hobby as well as myself. To be honest, at first I actually considered not even saying anything, because when you're in college, it's a strange place and it's like culture shock almost, and you don't really want to put too much of yourself out there. You know what? Let me know in the comments if any of you have ever felt that way, or felt like a certain culture shock, be it with the furry fandom or just in life in general. I think it would be interesting to hear your perspectives. The second time that I suited at college, that would be number 2, was when I just randomly decided, hey, one of these days I'm just going to go in my fursuit and I'm not even going to say a word. And that's exactly what I did. This next picture I'm going to show you. I still don't know how to feel about it, but here it is. Yes, I wore that outfit in my fursuit at school. I guess that was just kind of one of those things that said, you know what, why don't you do it? Just do it and see what happens. I was expecting some kind of backlash or some kind of judgment, but I got none of that. In fact, I got more hugs and more pictures, believe it or not. So my expectations once again did not meet the result. And that taught me another lesson, that sometimes you can do things and you may be afraid to do them, but what you think may happen probably won't happen. So that was a good first couple years of college. It was a good experience to really get that out there finally to a friend group, to some kind of public display, and it felt really good to kind of have that confidence, to gain that confidence and that trust in people, to be honest and to just show that this is okay. This is fine to do, and it may be out of the ordinary for some. It's actually quite a wonderful thing to be celebrated. And then I ended up going to the second school, which I mentioned before, and funny enough, I didn't actually really say anything in that school to any friends or any groups that I hung out with. I don't really know why. It's probably partially because that was the time that I dated you know who. I think the ultimate tipping point for me in not really saying anything at my second school about it was the fact that I just wanted to get done and graduate. So I think it's fair to say that I had senioritis my junior and senior year of college. I was ready to get out of college and be done. And for that reason, I didn't really mess around. Not saying that this was messing around, but it was just something that never really came up, you know? I didn't end up actually meeting any furry friends at the second school. Maybe I did meet like one or two by accident, and we just didn't know that each other were in the fandom. In fact, I was quiet about pretty much everything at that school. Like, it was a complete different world, and at that point I just wanted to be done. However, there is some irony to that. I ended up meeting more furs from that second school, and am still friends with to this day through local Telegram groups. Didn't even meet a single one while I was attending the actual school, and here I am on Telegram talking to them. So I guess in the end, my second school ended up learning that I was a furry because I met furs who went to that second school. It all comes full circle. So I guess the takeaway of this video is honesty really is a good policy. You never know who's there and who might actually be into the same things that you are. And if you're scared to say anything, or if you're scared to be who you want to be, then chances are there's really nothing to be scared about. Thankfully, I was able to have the experience that I did. I know that not everybody is as blessed to have the same experiences, and some have it a lot harder, unfortunately. And really, my heart goes out to all of you who have struggled in those areas and who have struggled to find those people who you can get along with. And I just really hope that things have gotten better for you, and if you're in that situation right now, then let's talk. And that's it. That's the story. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, feel free to leave a like, feel free to subscribe, feel free to hit that bell, I guess is what the kids are saying these days. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I did making it, and if you didn't enjoy it, then feel free to hit that dislike and click off the video. No hard feelings. And that's it, everybody. Have a great day. I love you. Bye. I just realized I didn't have my light on. Probably looked a little spooky. I look like a nerdy ghost KittyFox. Maybe this is how I should end the video. Just glare into the camera longingly. See, this video has become something completely different.